The movie starts by showing a group of robbers who are robbing a jewelry store in a mall. But it turns out that the robbers know that the jewelry store is just a camouflage. They are actually sellers of antiques in the black market. The robbers immediately enter the back door and take all the antiques they see. But when they escape from there, one of them accidentally drops a gun and makes people panic. Finally, the other visitors also panic, and the security officers take action. But the security officers also have difficulty catching the robbers because everyone is running around. But luckily, there is Diana alias Wonder Woman, who comes and manages to catch all the robbers. Then the scene shifts to show a woman. Her name is Barbara. She is actually very smart but has a problem in socializing. She has trouble finding friends because she is not attractive to others. Barbara is a newcomer in the office where Diana works. Barbara works as an expert and researcher in geology, while Diana works as an expert in archaeology. They accidentally meet and finally get acquainted. Barbara, who is clumsy, is immediately amazed by Diana, who is beautiful and charming. After that, they are visited by a boss who tells Barbara to immediately help the FBI and examine the confiscated items from an illegal antique shop that is disguised as a jewelry store. Barbara immediately examines the antiques, but looks confused because she has never seen them before. Then Diana comes there and is immediately interested in a stone that has a strange shape. Diana takes the stone and reads the inscription on it. The inscription says that anyone who holds this stone and then makes a wish, the wish will be granted immediately. Then there is a man who holds the stone and he hopes that he can drink coffee right away. And by chance there is someone who offers coffee, and he immediately drinks it. After that, Diana was seen closing her eyes and seemed to be wishing for something while holding the stone, and then she left. In the afternoon, Diana and Barbara chatted together in the office cafeteria and complimented each other. Barbara said that Diana was a very charming person and so easy to make others interested, while Diana said that Barbara was so funny and fun. When she returned from the office, Barbara was bothered by a homeless man who was drunk. He was very annoying and flirted with Barbara, but Barbara tried to get away from him, and the man started to force and even get physical. Luckily, Diana came and kicked the man until he flew away. After Barbara was safe, Diana immediately left. Barbara did not go home and instead returned to her office. Upon arriving at the office, she immediately examined the strange stone and made a wish that she wanted to be like Diana, who was very charming and strong. Barbara worked until she fell asleep. The next morning, Barbara woke up and felt strange because everyone there greeted her and praised her appearance. After that, she met her boss again and was introduced to a man named Maxwell. It turned out that Maxwell was an oil businessman who intended to become the main investor in Barbara's workplace. Finally, Barbara invited Maxwell to take a tour and explain the various activities in the office. But before that, Barbara went to her room for a while, and Maxwell saw the strange stone that he also coveted for a certain purpose. After finishing the tour, Diana came and Barbara introduced Maxwell to Diana and said that Maxwell was the person who would be the investor here. Diana, who was Wonder Woman, had a strange instinct for Maxwell and was suspicious of him. Then Maxwell said that there would be a gala dinner event at the office tomorrow and invited them both. Elsewhere, Maxwell, who was already in his office, was visited by an old man who turned out to be his investor in his oil company. The old man asked for his money back because Maxwell's oil company was bankrupt and failed. Maxwell's office also looked deserted, and there were no employees there because it was almost bankrupt. It turned out that there was his son there, named Alistair, who heard his father's conversation with the old man. He looked sad because the old man belittled his father, but Maxwell said that what the old man said was not true, and Maxwell promised that soon he would be the #1 person on Earth. The next day, Maxwell attended the gala dinner event. Barbara also attended wearing a nice dress that she had never worn before, because she never felt confident wearing clothes like that. After that, they both met, and Maxwell invited Barbara to chat in his office, but it turned out that Maxwell's real intention was to take the stone and take it elsewhere. Diana, who had been suspicious of Maxwell from the start, came to the gala dinner with the intention of watching Maxwell. But as she was walking, suddenly a man called her, and it turned out that he was Diana's boyfriend in the past. Actually, he had died while being a fighter pilot in World War. Then they both were happy because they could miraculously meet again. It seemed that Steve could come back to life because Diana had made a wish while holding the strange stone. Diana, who was too happy, forgot the real purpose of being at the gala dinner. The scene then shifted to show Maxwell, who was already in his office. Actually, he had been coveting the stone for a long time and really wanted it. Finally, Maxwell held the stone and made a wish. It turned out that he wished to become the stone itself, and then the essence of the stone possessed him. The next day, Maxwell went to the office of the old man and persuaded the old man to make a wish. After that, his wish was granted, and in return, Maxwell took all his shares and full control of his company. It turned out that the stone was made by a cunning god who put a trick on the stone. The stone did grant all human wishes, but the stone would take the most valuable thing that the wisher had. That's why Maxwell, who had been possessed by the stone, could take something that the wisher had, including health and anything else. Elsewhere, Diana, who realized that Steve's appearance was the work of the stone, immediately invited Steve to go to her office and meet Barbara. But on the way, Steve looked amazed by the progress of the times, and Diana just smiled. Then they arrived at her office. They met Barbara and immediately asked about the whereabouts of the stone, but Barbara said that the stone was borrowed by Maxwell and taken by him. After that, they both went to Maxwell's office to get the stone. When they arrived at Maxwell's office, they were surprised because the office was very crowded. It turned out that this was caused by Maxwell's oil field suddenly producing a lot, and people wanted to invest in his office. There were also some who wanted to apply for a job there. Then they both entered through the basement door, but the door was locked, and Diana tried to unlock it. It turned out that Diana had some difficulty breaking the lock, even though Diana had super strength, but she had trouble breaking the lock. But after trying hard enough, Diana managed to break the lock, and they entered the office. But when they got inside, they did not find Maxwell, and saw that the stone was missing, and only its base was left. It turned out that there was an inscription in the language of the gods on the base of the stone. Diana realized that the stone was made by a deceitful god. Diana also knew that for every wish, something of great value would be taken by the stone. The superpower that she had became weak because of the wish that she had made. Besides, Diana decided to follow Maxwell, who was already in Egypt to acquire an oil refinery there. When she arrived there, Maxwell had taken over all the oil refineries and all the bodyguards of the Egyptian oil king. Maxwell, who realized that he was being chased by Wonder Woman, ordered all his men to kill Diana. Diana, who was constantly attacked, also had difficulty facing them, especially since her power had decreased because of her wish to the stone. Despite that, Diana managed to defeat all of Maxwell's men and approached him. Then Diana asked about the whereabouts of the stone, and Maxwell answered that he was the stone. After that, Maxwell miraculously escaped, and Diana lost track of him again. Diana then called Barbara and asked how to cancel the wish that had been made. But Barbara did not know how, and invited her to meet with a Mayan shaman who claimed to have knowledge about the stone. They went to the shaman's place and asked how to restore the stone that had possessed a human. The shaman said that the stone could only be restored if the wisher renounced their wish. So Diana had to persuade Maxwell to renounce his wish that he had made. But they realized that Maxwell would not do that. Then it turned out that there was another way to cancel the wish, which was to destroy the stone, which meant they had to destroy Maxwell or kill him. But it seemed that Barbara did not agree with the idea of destroying the stone because her wish had also been granted, which was that she had a very great appeal and strength like Diana, and Barbara left from there. Meanwhile, in another place, Maxwell had opened a wish service and intended to take something from the wishers. He had met many people and made the city chaotic, and riots broke out everywhere. The scene moved again. This time Maxwell met the President of the United States and made the President make a wish. It turned out that the President wished that America had more nuclear bombs than Russia's nuclear bombs. It turned out that the Russian radar detected that suddenly America had a lot of nuclear bombs, and Russia considered this a challenge of war from America. Finally, Russia immediately responded by preparing their nuclear bombs and would shoot the nukes at America. Meanwhile, the President of the United States had made a wish to have more nuclear weapons than any other country, and Maxwell took his power as the President and became the #1 person in America. Then Maxwell saw a strange poster that looked like a satellite image. The president explained that the satellite was used to hijack all TV broadcasts in the world, and he could touch everyone who watched the broadcast. Maxwell, who heard that, was immediately interested, and he thought that all humans in the world would have wishes for him, and he planned to take valuable things from humans. Suddenly Diana appeared and planned to catch Maxwell, but suddenly Barbara also appeared and helped Maxwell escape. Barbara, who already had super strength, easily defeated Diana, whose strength had decreased. After defeating Diana, Barbara and Maxwell immediately boarded a private jet and headed to the satellite station. On the plane, Maxwell thanked Barbara by giving her a wish and not taking anything from her. Then Barbara asked to be given a very strong power that had never existed before. Elsewhere, Steve, who realized that Diana's strength had decreased because of his presence in the world, finally decided to leave so that Diana's strength could return to normal. At first, she refused because she really wanted to stay with Steve, but finally she agreed after Steve convinced her. After they parted, Diana prepared a strategy, and she wore her new shield costume. Then they went to the satellite station where Maxwell was. When they arrived there, Diana was immediately confronted by Barbara, who had turned into a cheetah monster. It turned out that Barbara was very strong, so much so that Diana's shield costume could not withstand the attack from the cheetah. But luckily, when they were fighting in the water, there was an electric cable that fell into the water and electrified it, so Barbara was electrocuted and died. After that, Diana entered and saw Maxwell doing a broadcast and making everyone make wishes to him, so the world became more chaotic. Diana cornered Maxwell to cancel his wish so that the world could return to peace, but Maxwell was stubborn and even got worse. Then somehow, Diana's persuasion could be heard by all humans, and finally all humans canceled their wishes, including the President of America, who wished for nuclear weapons, so the nuclear war was canceled. Then suddenly, Maxwell could know and feel the condition of his son, who was in trouble, and he knew that his son was alone, and his life was very threatened. Finally, Maxwell decided to cancel his wish, and he became a normal person again. Maxwell finally reunited with his son, Alistair, and the movie ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.